Hello, friends. Back for Maps and Graps. So excited to be talking about it feels like I have not talked about AEW this much in months positively, which is a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing if it feels like, maybe we really are back, y'all. I don't know. I feel like I say this all the time. Maybe we might be back. But obviously, All In and All Out have officially concluded. And I couldn't talk about this without, your favorite guest and mine. Charlie is back. We said we were going to do this show.
Being back.
And it's so funny that guess what? You get like the best of both worlds because Charlie went to All In and I went to All Out. So we have actual firsthand accounts for both shows.
Yes.
So we're trying to like not be here all day, but we're real yappers. So we're gonna some of you who are expecting to hear about Swerve Hangman on this episode, we're not going to go into detail. Because you want to know why? Because it's such a big topic that we're just going to break this episode up. So they're going to get their own thing. So for this entire first part, we're going to be talking about All In, All Out, most of the parts leaving the Hangman Swerve feuds out. But obviously there's going to be some parts where they do come out. Yeah. But without any further ado, we're going to start off. Wait, first of all, Charlie, did you have anything you wanted to say? Say hello before I just started yapping. My fault.
It's all good. So I came into the studio and Lyric was like, right, this is our agenda. This is what we're doing. I was just like, wow,
it's even funnier because like I've never done that before.
No, I was like, I'm ready just for like pitching mic. Like I knew we were splitting the episodes up because we talked about that yesterday, but you're like, whoa, okay, here is our agenda. But no, I'm very excited to be on for these. If I sound ill, it's because I have been. I don't know what it is, but this week has hit me like a freight train. But we're here, we're locked in. I had such a fun time at All In. I watched All Out a day late and saw virtually no spoilers, which was incredible. So
seriously?
That was a fun. Like I watched it Sunday night after I got home from the Noah Progress show. And like I was just like tweeting out my reactions, and I tweeted because I'd been thinking about Claudio for and it felt like he was turning heel, and I was just like, in this match especially, like during this tag match, like he's been really sharp. It feels like he's finally gearing up for that heel turn we thought was coming for like months. And I didn't look at my notifications like when I was live tweeting because I was very scared of spoilers. And I looked after, and all the replies were just like, "Nah, he's too much of a cool, nice guy to turn heel," and like doing like the hee hee ha ha type of shit. And I just quote tweeted that tweet like 2 hours later. Girl, what the fuck? Like when the heel turn happened, I was like, what the fuck?
I want to say like All Out was like the darkest shit ever. Like
it was unreal.
The end of that show, when I say people were literally just standing in shock, like I
can imagine being there was insane.
Madness. Yeah, you're gonna get some questions actually about your independent wrestling journeys. Actually, we took questions before this because you've been on the road a lot.
I've been on the road.
You've been on the road.
Maybe that's why it's like hit me like a freight train this week. I have nothing on for a couple of weeks.
For the love of the game, man, for the love of the graps. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start with a rapid fire for All In.
Yep.
We're gonna start with 0 Hour. We're not gonna do 0 Hour for All Out because it sucked, but
I didn't watch it, so
I do think like it's cool to like just briefly talk about 0 Hour just because there was some interesting stuff that happened on that show. So let's start. 5 words or less. 6-man tag team match.
So many people.
I was gonna say cool to get people on card. That might be over 5 words, but
it's just so many people.
Or should have been a battle royal. Or maybe maybe.
I mean, if you've already got 16 guys.
If you already got 16 guys, but
what's 4 more? There was people backstage. We know this.
Literally. You could have put some Brit Rest guys in there too. Who cares at that point if you're gonna do all that? Anyway, mixed tag team match. Tomohiro Ishii and Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway.
Book intergender wrestling, you cowards.
Real. Big Tom Rocks. That's that's mine. Jamie Hayter return.
I cried. I cried.
About damn time.
Mm-hmm.
About damn time. That's for me. And 10-man tag, Dustin Rhodes, Shibata, Sammy, and Von Erichs versus Cage of Agony and the Undisputed Kingdom.
Cool moment for the wrestlers.
Should have been a battle royal.
Yeah, you know what? That's 26 people.
If we added that first match and that second match together, I guarantee, guys, we could have just had a battle royal. We could have just had a battle royal.
Oh my
God. I digress. That's 0 hour. Let's go into the main card. So we opened up with the trios title ladder match, London ladder match. Thoughts?
Exceeded my expectations.
Fun, good for Pac.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Real.
Well, we're going to talk about this in depth. Hook versus Jericho.
I thought they were apples.
It was there. That's fine.
It wasn't apples. It was cricket balls. I didn't know that till I checked Twitter. I should have figured that out. There was a fucking cricket bat.
I also didn't understand what was happening when, like, they're like, it's cricket. That's It laughs in American.
I'm British. I should have made that connection.
You know, tag title 3-way match.
Thank God for the Young Bucks.
Better than expected. I think I didn't have high expectations for that match, but it was better than expected. And also, thank God for the Young Bucks. Shout out to the Young Bucks, but we'll get there. World title. Okay. We're gonna get there. What, Ospreay versus MJF?
No. My internet cut a little bit. I was just like, oh God, did the
Oh no.
But we're good.
Ospreay MJF.
Better than the first match.
That was my exact same response. Cool Ospreay moment. Mercedes versus Britt Baker.
I feel bad for Mercedes.
The gears were incredible.
Indeed.
Great gowns, beautiful gowns.
Very expensive.
Very expensive gowns. Jack Perry versus Darby Allin.
It just kind of happened.
Short and sweet.
Sting.
Oh, yeah. Sting! It's Sting. Yeah, short and sweet. We got a Sting moment. You know, it was very clear that one was cut for time.
Indeed.
Very let's get into the fun stuff. So the better matches of the card, we're going to go more into in depth. And let's start off with the Casino Gauntlet match. No, my fault. Sorry. Mariah versus Tony. Because I was.
I'm still happy.
Mariah versus Tony. First of all, shout out to Campbell from who wrote that piece for BBC. Somebody actually asked me my thoughts for it and like put it in the to print about my thoughts on Tony and Mariah. But this match was incredible. I do think that in the moment, I feel like there were a lot of people like feeling like, oh, this should have gone on later in the night. But honestly, based on where they were in the card, the crowd was still very hot, like very hot. Nobody was tired. Yes, would have been nice for like the lights to be down. Sure, probably. But we know how wrestling crowds get about women's wrestling sometimes. And this was perfect as far as maximum crowd investment. Like, I felt like all the stars aligned for this. I don't know. It was great.
Yeah, I love this match. It felt like a Stadium World title match for the women. Just felt like a Stadium World title match, full stop. Didn't bleed as much as I thought they were going to, but like
I did want more.
They told a lot of story within the wrestling that they were doing. I wouldn't hate if they ran it back at some point. Obviously not anytime soon, but it does feel like they left the door open for a potential rematch down the line.
And I'd like a stipulation next time. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Like a stip match would make sense. I think Tony was absolutely phenomenal here. 100%. Obviously, Mariah played her role incredibly well as well, and she looked great in the ring for where she's at in her career. But Tony just excelled in this atmosphere, and I am very happy for her because she absolutely deserved a moment like that. So
I agree. I think I had been waiting on that signature reign. I think we've seen signature promos, but I feel like this was it. Like this was the signature match that you look back on the Timeless Tony run. And I think it was great. I think Mariah looked great. It was just really full circle to even just watch of just like, if you look at where that women's division was last year versus then just see like the entire crowd fully invested. We've looked at the story that has taken up the better part of nearly a year at that point of just very surreal to just watch it.
Absolutely, I agree.
Shout out to the women's there. I would like to see it down the line. More blood though, thank you. But it was really good. Next, the Casino Gauntlet match. The finish aside, this might have been maybe one of the all-time greatest wrestling experiences, like just genuine experiences of watching something, probably since I was a kid. Like it felt like WrestleMania was supposed to, like, used to feel when I was like a child of just like, who's gonna come out? Like it almost feels like not even WrestleMania. I would say the Royal Rumble, like how the Royal Rumble used to feel of just like, who's gonna come out? This is amazing. I'm just like, and Nigel's music, when Nigel came out, and like it was like, and then when Zach came out,
bro,
now that was probably the moment in the show when I was just like, I am like heartbroken. I want to cry myself to sleep for not being there. Like I'm just, oh man.
I have figured out this is the match that I completely destroyed my voice in, because like I was like shouting and screaming pretty much the whole weekend. Like I was at a lot of wrestling, like over all in weekend. But this match, I knew quite a few of the people that were scheduled to be in it going into it. Announced, obviously those who were announced, and a couple of people that I knew. Zack Sabre Jr. was one of the only people that hadn't been confirmed to me. So when that music hit, like you probably saw it, I posted it on my close friends story on Instagram. The scream that I let out was absolutely ridiculous, and it destroyed my voice. But yeah, like you said, finish aside, this was an unreal experience. I'm so glad they went with this over a Stadium Stampede, because Stadium Stampede is great to watch on TV. It is not great to be in the stadium for, because you can barely see anything, to be honest.
And I also think like they probably shouldn't try Stadium Stampede again until like they're running a show in America.
I agree.
I think that Wembley's a little too big for it. Just way big for it. But no, I completely agree. This was incredible. Like, what a crazy month for the British. August.
Indeed.
Like, Mariah brought it home. Zach brought it home. You got Zach in Wembley Stadium. Nigel's back.
Nigel was back in the wrestling ring.
Pack's
got a title. Ospreay won his belt back.
You know, I'm just like,
we were getting fed. It was a very good month for the Brits.
I think you need to be at the forefront of convincing more British sports fans to start watching wrestling. If you want to win, y'all got to start watching
wrestling. Fuck the football. That ain't never coming home. But you know what came home? The G1 climax.
The G1 climax trophy. Like, oh man. It was so special. Like that match type. And I know some people are like, oh, they're gonna run it out soon. They might, but not today.
Not today.
Not today. We're recording this right before Dynamite. When people are finally hearing this. So we're actually about to witness the first tag team Casino Gauntlet match, which I don't know how to feel about it. Yeah, we'll see when I see it. Really, we'll see when I see it.
I ain't saying nothing about nothing. I don't know. I genuinely don't know anything. So many people have asked me if I know something about something, and I don't know nothing about nothing. So.
My thing is, it's funny, but for me personally, I'm not even more so. I don't really care about like who's in it, right? I think I think just the visual of having multiple tag teams on screen should remind AEW you have more tag teams than the Acclaimed FTR.
Oh yeah.
So
oh yeah.
I'm not worried about who's in it. I'm just more so thinking about the logistics of having how many teams are they going to have? How many people are you going to have out there by the ring? Like, I think it's going to be absolute clusterfuck of a match, which can be a very great thing. Like, you know, I just don't know. And I'm excited. I will say I've been trying to lean more into not knowing things in wrestling. And embracing that I don't know things, because I think a lot of times, because when we don't know things, we just automatically assume that we don't like them. Now, there are plenty of times where no, these things are very unlikable, but the Casino Gauntlet match, even now looking back, Christian was probably the right winner, like with all we know now. But in the moment, I did want to hog tie you, Tony Khan. Yeah, so
I'm still not convinced on Christian being the right winner. If you didn't want Hangman to win, there were other people, but I digress. I don't know. AEW booking, I ain't the booker.
I would have been happy with several other people, but you know,
there were a lot of viable people in that match.
Why couldn't it have been Nigel? Like, no, like seriously, like why couldn't it have been Nigel? And maybe this is me who was just so excited just to see him, but like, you can't tell me the story's not there. People have been telling me I've been crazy.
Nigel.
People have been telling me I've been crazy of just like, oh, you make stuff. I said they're keeping Nigel and Danielson separate on purpose. Like, for example, Nigel was supposed to officiate that, you know, that meetup between Danielson and Swerve. But by the time Brian got to the ring, Nigel just disappeared.
Nigel was gone. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, no, like, Nigel should have been the winner. He could have easily been the winner. I'm not mad at it being Christian, because I'm sure, like, but
I'm sure they got something cooking.
I'm sure there's something cooking. Do I like what I smell? But something's cooking.
To be fair, Christian still has his association with the Elite right now.
Correct.
And they keep doing this bit of, we're going to do anything possible to bring the world title back to the Elite. I mean, when Christian fails and he needs someone to save him, Adam Copeland is training again. So I am once again back to here.
You know, I agree. And because, you know, you were the one who said that was probably supposed to be the all-in match, which I agree with. I think that was going to be the all-in match, Young Bucks versus Copeland. And I would like to say that I'm not against that match happening, you know. Will he be ready by Wrestle Dream? I'm not sure, but like maybe World's End, you know, or Full Gear. Copeland made his debut with Wrestle Dream. That's why I said Wrestle Dream. But you know, listen, I want to see it.
Where are we at? It's currently the 11th of September. I should have known that off the top of my head. So that's like a month. And he's already back training. He might be ready by Wrestle Dream. But
who knows?
Will the Bucks still be champs then? Who knows? Do you know what? Do the Bucks need to be champs to have the match with Adam Copeland and Christian on pay-per-view? Absolutely not, to be honest.
I think these are legitimately two of the greatest tag teams of all time.
It's just a dream match. So yeah, run it at Wrestle Dream. Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, it's a dream match. So I would love to see it literally. Are you going to?
Because you know who? Am I going to Wrestle Dream? No, I can't afford that. It's like basically the week before Royal Quest and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah.
No, I can't do all that. But you know who Bryan Danielson's facing at Grand Slam? Darby Allin. You know who Christian had a match with at Wrestle Dream last year, which led to the debut of Adam Copeland? Darby Allin. I'm just saying.
Listen, I would like to see it. And I think that there are several people who are currently injured. Well, I think they were really injured. But I do think that there's several people who are injured who are a lot farther along in their recovery process than I think we know about, that are currently on the roster. Yes, I know.
I think he's back before the end of the year. I ain't saying it online.
I too
this is not a scoop. This is not a scoop.
This is delusion. Like, guys, this is delusion. But
this is just me being hopeful.
This is me being hopeful. I think Kenny's back before the end of the year too. You know, there's I heard some people say that they think that the Golden Lovers are coming back. Now, I can't confirm that. I can't confirm that is what's happening.
But I don't know shit. I don't know nothing about nothing.
That I have been watching DDT. And Kota Ibushi does look better than he did.
He does. It's probably the best he's looked like since he came back to wrestling.
He looks considerably better than he did. I'm not saying that means anything. Maybe it means nothing. But I do think that the tag
Kenny Omega was spotted out and about by a fan semi-recently, and he looked pretty fucking good.
He looks great.
We're just delusional. We're two delusional bitches that do podcasts. Like, you know, don't put weight into anything we say.
I will quite literally do anything to have Kenny Omega back. Please don't use me as a source. Never use me as a source. But no, like, seriously, I do think that the tag division, that is one thing that I do have hope for. I think the tag division is going to look considerably better by the end of this year. And so I'm excited. Oh, GYV came back. Okay, debuted in AEW. They did. We didn't talk about that, but that was really awesome. It's nice.
We did not.
We have. Well, they didn't do music or anything. They just kind of like had them run in the ring, and I kind of wish that they didn't, because like I do think they probably should have got an entrance. If they're supposed to be like,
it's GYV.
I think for people who aren't familiar with them, though, like I think in the crowd, I think some people are like, "Oh, it's GYV," but a lot of people don't know who they are. You know, that's
to be fair, this is a conversation I had on a Wrestle Purists podcast earlier this year. I was just like, man, like they shouldn't debut GYV at Wembley because of like I don't think they're as well known as people think they are, and I got absolutely rinsed for it because of the way that I said it made it sound like I was just like, yeah, who the fuck are GYV anyway, sort of thing. But no, I have a lot of respect for those boys, and I actually like them as a tag team. So
yeah, like I really like them, but I do think like it has been overestimated. Like, no, they're not like as well known as MCMG, like, or anything like that at all.
Don't speak their name. You can't talk about them. Your comment section's gonna be fucking rapid.
My fault, guys.
I don't know who they are.
But that was a casino gauntlet.
Yes. Good match.
Swerve versus Danielson.
Bravo! I cried during the video package they played before the match. So I was just like sobbing this entire match. Like I was screaming.
I feel like, first of all, Swerve Strickland, I think to have had that many amazing, not just good, not just great, but amazing matches in like the span of 10 months is absolutely insane. This is before all that. And I think there are several matches that can be thought of as his best match, but they're all so different that it's kind of hard to compare them. Of just like this Swerve Danielson match was what dreams are made of. Like, I hate to sound cheesy, but truly, this was a wrestling fairy tale come true. Like, this was if you're looking for a stadium main event, this is it. Like, this is it. This is the thing, guys. Like, this was the emotion. And I will say, I was a hater. I said this should not be the match. This should not be the match, but I can admit I was wrong. This is 100% the right call, especially after I saw that all-out match. That could not have main events in Wembley at all. But
I disagree, but people's perceptions of what Wembley should be, it is what it is, sort of thing.
People would have gone home crying. The children.
Good.
Children, Charlie.
All it does not need to end with happy endings every year. Otherwise, we're going to get stuck in this stupid rut.
I do agree, but I think that's also why I do like the dichotomy between All In and All Out. I do like that All Out is always going to be that grittier show. And I do like, now for me, I would love to see like a whole light tubes and shit in Wembley. Like,
Be
yeah,
unreal.
let's do it. I would love to see needles and shit at Wembley. But that is 100% like for AEW, that's the show that the sponsors are looking at. That's the flagship show.
Fuck the sponsors. I don't give a fuck about the sponsors. I'm being incredibly selfish.
No, here's the thing. No, I get it. I'm just saying, like, they're looking back. No, they couldn't have had that main event, Wembley, and it's okay because Swerve and Danielson was the perfect main event for if you
absolutely.
If you're building a babyface show, right? Like if you were building like a babyface show, send the crowd happy. What? That was perfect. Danielson's family in the front row, like, bro, like Swerve felt like a superhuman. Like it was beautiful. Bryan Danielson, you don't need to go home. I do think you should think about this more. Birdie, do you need him every day? Like every day? Like every day. Like 7 days a week, 24/7. I don't think you do. I don't think you do. I think you should think about us. Think about us. We're going to miss your dad a lot.
It's basically some of our dads, if you think about it.
Literally. I think especially with how young I am and how young I was when I first saw Bryan Danielson. Yes. He's like, I got suit. Please. Like, please, please. There will be very few people who can invigorate people like Bryan Danielson does. And I think I think just think about like from a size perspective of how monumental this is. And I think even if you count in last year too, of just these are for people who have been historically considered wrestling superstars. Bryan Danielson is obviously undersized, like obviously undersized of the traditional wrestler archetype. Swerve was for a long time as well. Went from a cruiserweight. Even last year, the MJF Cole main event of just like it was just cool to see the underdogs win, like just be on top to even just main event the show. And for Bryan Danielson has done this in WWE, he's done it in Ring of Honor, he's done it in AEW, and every time it feels like it's better. Like this was completely different than the Yes movement. Like it felt like a completely original experience while still being so just beautiful. Brava. I had already rewatched the match at least 3 times by Monday. Like,
oh my God, I haven't rewatched it at all yet.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a sick fuck. It's okay. And that's also how I process things too, of just like I have to rewatch the match over and over and over again. Especially if I really like it, I can't get it out of my head.
It was such a special live experience. I don't want to tarnish that by rewatching it yet. I haven't rewatched most of All In last year, mainly because I already disliked the show and I don't want to hate it even more.
No, you don't want to. Yeah, no, trust me. Yeah. I rewatched All In after, and here's the thing, I do regret that when it comes to All In. I regret that last year that I rewatched it because the only thing that was saving it in my mind was the live experience of being there. And so like watching it back, I'm like, oh, this is ass. Like this, like this is legitimately ass. But I do think like this year on the rewatch, everything holds up. I will say everything much holds up. But Swerve versus Danielson was perfect. I think like the presentation, the entrances alone, like
unreal.
Amazing. Nana using the Jimmy Rave, putting it over Swerve again, of just like final fucking countdown.
Also, All In's pyro budget, I think I was fucking deaf by the time I left that stadium. Like the amount of pyro was crazy.
Tony Khan heard me call him poor, and he was like, okay, I'm going to step it up. Because I said, if y'all bring that short ass stage and that little pyro ever again, we're going to have a problem. They definitely stepped up the spectacle for this show, which I felt needed to happen. And I don't think like it needs to be like WrestleMania, but it is a stadium. Like, I feel like All In wasn't terrible last year on this regard, but it kind of reminds you, like the New Japan Strong shows, they'll be in the, like, they'll have Windy City Riot, they'll have basically almost a sold out crowd, and then they'll have like nothing. Give the girls nothing. No lights, no screens, no razzle dazzle. It's just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And so it was nice to see them like really step it up. We could talk about this a little bit before we get into go do it, but like the Hangman run in, I felt like was really well done because I like the fact that he was seen, but he didn't actually interfere in the finish.
Yeah.
Because I did think like we said this when we were even previewing the show of like because the build wasn't great, the intrigue of Swerve Danielson is the match. Like that was the money. The money is the match itself.
Absolutely.
And so I'm glad that they protected that for a clean finish. I have nothing but good things to say about this match.
Me too. It was incredible. And I'll rewatch it eventually, but I don't really rewatch the shows that I go to live, to be honest. So I still haven't ever rewatched Revolution 2023, and that was my first pay-per-view.
So we're like complete opposites in that regard because like I feel like I have to. So I rewatch it immediately. Like I rewatch it immediately because it tells me, was this actually good or was I just, because I feel like being somewhere live like adds like an extra, at least a quarter star, anywhere between a quarter star to like a full star to how good it was. And so like I'll go and I'll rewatch it and I'll be like, okay, was this as good as I thought it was? And for a lot of times it'll be like, okay, this was much better. Like we'll talk about it, but Chris Willow, the screens were off for like were off for like half the match. So like that entire time, like where they were out of the ring, like on the stage and everything, I missed almost all of that. So like I thought Chris Willow was good, like, you know, but I didn't think it was fantastic until I rewatched it back and I'm like, this match is fucking awesome. Like,
yeah,
it's fucking awesome. So yeah, you know, like some people don't like rewatching matches, and that's okay because you know I feel like sometimes you just have to like preserve how it felt in that moment.
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
But
I never know how many pay-per-views I'm going to be able to go to in a year because travel's expensive. So I'm just like, I'm going to keep that little live experience.
Real, and I feel like it's gotten more expensive too. Just like I looked at like my list last year. I think I did 16 shows overall, and I don't think I'm going to hit it this year. I think I'm at 11. I've done 11, which is still good, but it's not like kind of sad.
Like I've done a lot more indie shows this year, but that wouldn't have really affected my travel for like American shows, and like it's just so fucking expensive to go anywhere.
So expensive. It's so sad. It makes me really sad actually because like all I want to do is like I feel like, you know, the deeper you get into this, you start making more friends all around the world and stuff, and you would love to like actually hang out and like partake with them, and it's just like we all live on opposite sides of the world. Yeah. And we're lucky if we see each other once a year.
Yep. So I saw Lexi like 3 times last year, and I've seen her once this year. Like it's crazy.
I know.
It's crazy. We've seen each other twice this year?
Twice, yeah.
Twice, yeah.
Revolution from Indoor.
Damn, you just have to come over for a quest, I'm telling you.
I know, I want to come so bad, but the thing is, if I go to Royal Quest, I'm definitely not going to Wrestle Dream. And it's just like, and it also like the flights to London are so expensive now. It wasn't that expensive last year. Like it just wasn't that expensive last year. I'm like, what is happening?
It's so spenny to go in.
I will tell you, I will be in the building for Forbidden Door London. I can
Amen.
guarantee. I will guarantee. I will go ahead and say it right now today. I will be at Forbidden Door London. So
to the surprise of absolutely no one.
We're gonna have a great time. We still don't know where that's gonna be, but I
have my theories.
Do you think it's gonna be the O2, or do you think they're gonna go somewhere else?
I think it's the O2. I think I know why it hasn't been confirmed yet, but that's an off-air discussion. So
yes, guys, you can't get everything from us. So we have questions here for All In before we get into All Out. Question from Billy Norcott. This isn't to do with AEW, so feel free to ignore this one. But top 3 independent wrestling matches from All In weekend. I think that's a Charlie question. The only show I saw was the Rev Pro show. That's the only show that I saw.
Oh, fuck. I did a top 9. I did an article because of I wanted to do a top 5, but I couldn't decide on just 5. So deciding on 3 is going to be virtually impossible.
Well, why you think I would say what I like from the Rev Pro show? I love the main event. I did love the main event. Luke Jacobson, Michael Oku, Zack Sabre Jr. and Hedge Sarah was fantastic. But I mean, they're just fantastic. That doesn't shock me. What else? I really love that women's match.
Yeah, Cutthroat Collective versus Team Rev Pro.
Oh, they went crazy. Like I will say, women's wrestling this year, the girls have been going for it.
The
like
girls have been
going for it.
Yeah.
They've just been going for it. What else happened on that show? Gabe match, it was okay, but it wasn't like fantastic. Gabe versus Dajak.
It's been naff.
It was like,
JJ Gale versus Ishii.
I heard a lot of people like that match. So I got home like right after that match. So like I still have to see that. I still need to go back and watch it.
Girl, you need to go back and watch it. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back.
I didn't love Mills versus Ethan Allen. But there's things around that for why it was the way it was, is what it is, sort of thing. They'll have a better match down the line. I didn't love Mina versus Danny Luna either, to be honest. I don't know why I'm now criticizing Repro. This was not the question.
No, it wasn't great. It was good. It was, but I expected more. I did expect more.
I had seen Danny Luna wrestle earlier in the day. She wrestled Emerson Jane, and that match was fucking awesome. So I don't really know what happened here. Maybe a language barrier. Maybe
it could be that. And I think
politics.
It did feel like they got cut for time a little bit too. So
it didn't feel like that in the building though.
Yeah, and maybe so, because I was like, this was a little bit shorter than I expected, but at least watching from home. But like I do realize that like indie shows are not really centered around how it's going to be perceived by people who aren't in the building a lot of times. So.
But top three, I'm gonna go top three that weren't on the Rev Pro card, because the Rev Pro show as a whole, just like top to bottom, is absolutely still worth watching. Like all of those, pretty much everything on that card, like will give you a little bit of something. So top three outside of that, Jordan Breaks versus Kanji from the Pro Wrestling Ceasefire show was fucking awesome. And Kanji's just having a really great year. Like she's had some really fucking awesome matches. Even in like the last month, she wrestled Millie McKenzie at Rev Pro Live in London at the beginning of September. That match rocked. Then she wrestled Eddie Dennis this past weekend, and that match was fucking awesome. Like, I don't know, Kanji's just on the tear right now. Connor Mills versus Jay Joshua from Attack, all caps all day. I think that match is online now. Also a really, really good match. A much better display of Mills than his Ethan Allen match, but again, circumstances, not my business to talk about. And a third one. Luke Jacobs versus Kid Lycos at Progress was pretty fucking good as well.
I heard that one was really good, yeah.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. Yeah, no, there was a lot of good wrestling on this week, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something off the top of my head that I'm going to be like, fuck, that match was really good as well. But
what I did appreciate, even though I wasn't there, sadly, I did appreciate, it seems like a lot more promotions were running shows during All In weekend, which I think was great. And I think like it also speaks to why last year, the fact that they were able to sell 80,000 tickets on such short notice, because they really did announce that show pretty late, because I think it was February when they announced All In last year.
April.
So April? It was April?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That's insane. But the fact that they were able to do that is nuts. And I think the only people who ran shows were Rev Pro, Progress, and maybe Eve. Eve
last year?
Yeah, like last year. Yeah,
and also Riot Cabaret on the Friday, but Riot Cab always run this weekend because it's bank holiday weekend, I'm pretty sure. So, well, no, I know it's bank holiday weekend, but I'm pretty sure that Riot Cab always run that weekend.
Yeah, so like I was really pleased, like even just from home, seeing like how many indie people were, like how many indie.
There was so much choice. There was
so
much choice.
Around, was it like spread out all around London, or was it all in like the general vicinity of Wembley?
It was all like, so obviously you had where Wembley Stadium is, you have where Hackney Wick is, and everything else was like kind of like in the center of that a little bit. The Riot Cabaret shows in Clapham Junction, which is like a little bit further out of the way, but like it's easy enough to get to. And the ceasefire show was in Lambeth North, and I don't even remember how to get to that. I think it was on the Bakerloo line, but I don't know. I just travel for shows and hope for the best. But nothing was just like overly difficult to get to be honest. I did like where the triple header all caps all day were like Attack North and Hustle Ram. Because that was only in Islington, and it didn't take long to get from there to Hackney Wick. Not that I stayed all day because I had other things to do, but I've heard from other people that the journey was like pretty bearable to get from the triple header show to Rev Pro. So if they do that again, then that was a pretty good venue to run. So
sounds fun. Oh my gosh! And really quickly, how was Wales? I forgot they did the Dynamite in Wales in Cardiff.
I forgot that I went to Wales for that.
I forgot you went too, and I was just like, yeah, because I was about to say, oh, I wish that they had done a Dynamite or something that week, but I forgot they did.
They did. They ran Dynamite and Collision tapings in Wales, and the atmosphere is one of the most insane things I've ever been part of. It was a sold-out show. It was packed to the brim. The set was gorgeous, by the way. That is like one of my favorite Dynamite settings I've been to for like a TV taping and stuff. And I've been to a couple. I'm allowed to say that because I have been to a couple in different states. Yeah, no, the cards were, they left a little to be desired.
Okada.
That was yeah, that was awesome in building. The 6-man tag that main evented Dynamite as well was pretty fun. But like the collision card was a bit shit.
It was there. It happened.
But the atmosphere, like the drunker the fans got, the more fun they had with whatever was going on in the ring, which was awesome. And I just love going to Wales. I love unreal. Like genuinely, TV does not do it justice for like what the atmosphere was like for Big Bill like halfway through that match. Yeah, I don't know. I love Cardiff. I would absolutely travel up for another. I go to Cardiff like once a month at this point, anyways. But I would absolutely think that they should run another tape in there because it was just like, can you imagine some of the New Japan guys in Cardiff and the sort of reactions they're gonna get? And like a TV taping compared to a stadium show, it's a lot more just AEW fan base because like casuals aren't gonna go to a fucking TV tape, and let's be real. Yeah. But like that's how you sell out like a stadium sort of thing, or like how you pack out a stadium. But because it was so AEW centric, like there was a lot more understanding of what it meant for some of those talents to be there. Mm-hmm. So seeing like some of the New Japan guys and how like a predominantly Welsh audience would react to them would be very, very funny. Like the reaction to Okada, incredible. Like absolutely meant.
I think they like went crazy for Ishii too, and like I think Shibata was out there as well. It was just
Shibata didn't get much of a reaction initially. I was going absolutely mad, but I think it's because of like him, like his injury stuff and like like that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like you roll out someone like who's big in New Japan that's like not an obvious name. I'm trying to think of someone that would really pop the AEW audience in the UK. Obviously, Suzuki's an easy answer.
Easily. Yeah.
I roll out Despy. That crowd's losing their minds because Despy is insanely over in the UK.
Oh yeah, I think Hiromu would get over too.
Oh, Hiromu is going to be on Royal Quest, and I am so excited for the reactions to that. It's going to be.
Hiromu's on a tear right now. I'm actually really excited.
Indeed. I haven't watched his match with Hanare yet, but I've heard very good things.
One of the best matches he's had in a long time. They just need to let him fucking wrestle heavyweights, man. Like Hiromu.
Yeah, I don't get why he doesn't go up.
I think it's because he cares so much about junior heavyweight wrestling, and I feel like it's because he was carrying that torch for so long. But honestly, even in New Japan right now, he's not even really. He's not the junior ace anymore. Despy is. Despy is the face of that division. And I don't think you need both of them at this point. I think that there was a time you need both of them, but especially Kosei Fujita is on the rise. You have those War Dogs, you have people you have Doki having the belt right now of just Hiromu is so much more needed, I think, as a heavyweight. And I think
I agree.
Truly, Naito needs him too. Naito needs an opponent right now that he can have that match with.
A,
And when I say
a
that
storytelling match with over just moves.
And even like Yota Tsuji and him couldn't do it at New Japan Cup. I think he's too new. I don't think the chemistry's there. And also, I think Yota Tsuji's mountain to climb is Shingo. And like, I think we've seen that in those LIJ, these 6-man tags. But like, everybody needs Hiromu in the heavyweight. So I do think that's the dome match. I think even if he doesn't fully go heavyweight, it is going to be Naito Hiromu at the dome. And I agree with that. I think that's
the correct choice.
I think that's the right call. All right, last question before we move on to All Out. Question from Retro Great Production. Aside from Ricochet, which we unfortunately got spoiled, but is the worst kept secret, there really was not any big surprise of someone new on both events where match, which I really enjoyed. Which new additions were you thinking / expecting to see at All In, All Out? For me personally,
to be honest, I was like anticipating GYV, and that was about it. To be honest,
I was anticipating Jamie Hayter. I was anticipating GYV, and I was anticipating Ricochet. So just about everybody that I thought was going to debut came back.
I have no expectations about Motor City Machine Guns anymore.
No,
I never did, to be honest. I just have no expectations for them right now. They'll pop up somewhere eventually.
They'll show up, or maybe they'll just build a diner somewhere. Who knows? At this point,
maybe they're retired. I don't know.
You know, and to be honest, I do think, like, even though I don't think they are retiring, what it really
neither do I. I was like,
they've genuinely done everything, guys. Like, they've really done it all. So yeah,
let's take it a break. Love that for them.
All right, let's go into All Out. So we're gonna go back to rapid reactions. 5 words or less. MJF versus Daniel Garcia.
MJF's best match this year.
Yes. And I would also say crazy amounts of spit. Wow.
Yeah, grim. Bit gross.
I will say, out of all it, people talk about, oh yeah, All In was dark, so much sick shit. No, that was it. That was it.
That was actually legitimately disgusting.
Where I was actually like
yeah. Like one of the only things that like physically made me react. Like obviously I was like reacting to everything else that was happening on the card, but like that was like a full body reaction.
Where I was actually disgusted. Like, yeah. But I do agree. MJF's best match. At first I wasn't really happy with the finish, but I didn't realize Daniel hadn't re-signed yet. So yeah, I get it. So hey.
Yeah.
Shoulders to the mat. I don't know what to tell you.
I enjoyed it.
Young Bucks versus BCC, Claudio and Yuta.
We might be back.
My goats. Listen, don't underestimate the Bucks. That's mine. When they are locked in, and honestly, based off of like these really sassy Twitter bios that Matt Jackson has been writing, yes, I know it's you. They are kind of pissed that everybody's calling them washed, and so hey, I don't know what's going on. It feels like that they're, feels like a new fire has been lit underneath them.
Indeed.
I hope to see it. I hope it's real. This was great. Claudio's a fucking freak. Yutas looked great since his return.
Shout out Nick Jackson for working injured as well.
Nick Jackson, in my opinion, is the greatest singles wrestler that never happened.
Yeah, I agree.
And I stand on that firmly. And Nicholas Jackson, if you ever decide that you would like to go on a singles run, even if it's just for like a month, I don't care. I want you to not support you. And we kind of got there last year because there was like a month where he was just wrestling like straight singles matches. And it was kind of
awesome. They did a couple of singles. They both did a couple of singles matches. I was just like, I feel allergic to what is happening on my screen. Like,
y'all, if Nicholas Jackson ever decides to become a singles wrestler, it's over for a lot of you.
It's over for a lot of your faves. I'm sorry, but he's about to show. Bro, you've got Ricochet on your fucking roster now. Lace up the boots for a singles match just one more time. Just one more time. Remember the Phoenix matches. Just lace them up one more time.
I need to see it. We'll skip this one, or we'll skip that one. because we're going to come back to it. Okada versus Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe versus Orange Cassidy.
How is Takeshita not a champion?
Okada, Takeshita will feed families. That's mine.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with yours. I agree. After that G1 run of, but I will say this has given me hope that we are heading in the right direction. The fact that they're even putting him in front of Okada is just like, it's like, okay, we're not playing around anymore.
They're teasing it.
It's happening. Mercedes versus Shida.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You know what? I think actually, I said I was just going to do a rapid, but I think this is the appropriate place to talk about it. And let's talk. I am a Mercedes stan. Like, she is my all-time.
That's my girl.
Favorite women's wrestler of all time. I don't think it makes you any less of a fan to point out that her flaws. The finisher sucks.
Mm-hmm.
The finisher sucks. And I think that a lot of good matches that she has had has been ruined because the finisher sucks. Yep. And hitting it 1 or 2 good times does not make the finisher not suck. And I think like a lot of fans like to blame, oh, this is how this person took it. This is how this person took it. They're not selling it well. That might be true. But I think that one, the finisher could work more so as a transition into the statement, bank statement.
Yeah.
Like, it's perfect for that. You can literally, as soon as you flip your opponent off, you can immediately go for the arm, put in the submission hold. I don't think that should be like the actual finisher. But I do think we can be also honest about Shida. I think Shida's still a very good wrestler. She's not who she was 2 years ago.
See, that's where I disagree. I think Shida's been very, very consistent. I just think the division's outgrown her. She's not progressed necessarily in the ring. And whether that's because of a bit on-off booking, whether she's just getting... I don't know how old Shida is. Whether like she's just getting on a little bit in her career.
Like 36, which for women's wrestling
is slightly older than average.
Yeah, that's like a full career. You have to think like even like other Joshis of her era and time are either hanging it up or like Arisa Nakajima just retired a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have somebody like a Asuka who obviously transitioned over to WWE for a much softer style.
Easier style wrestling, So I don't think it's necessarily the I just don't think she does. Like, I think she's very much been on the same form that she always has been. Like, she's had a couple of matches that haven't been great, but I just think it's because of where the division is right now, and she hasn't necessarily grown with the division as much. And I do think the booking that she's had in the past couple of years is also to blame for that, because she hasn't been a consistent player on TV.
I agree, and I think I've said this. I think Shida needs a rival. Like, I think she needs somebody who she can have like a genuine rivalry with. Like,
and I think it should be Jamie Hayter.
Hey, I wouldn't. You won't hear anything from me.
The title division, like the title scenes, they're getting pretty crowded. You're not going to be able to throw everyone in there straight away.
Neither of them should be. I think neither of them should be touching the title anytime soon. Just like, I don't think Jamie should win the title back anytime soon. I think like we have a lot of, especially in comparison to the men's division, the AEW women's division, there's a lot of too many women who haven't been uplifted to that main event, like that world title level. And I think we'll talk about it, but the two most glaring names on that list are Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. And it's glaring. It's glaring. And I think Shida needs a rival. And I also think that Mercedes is still finding her footing. And I think like that, I don't think that that's a bad thing to say. And I do think she was at a disadvantage, and people, and this is what I don't like. I think a lot of people say she's been the most disappointing signing compared to Ospreay and Okada. And I don't think that that's true.
They weren't coming off the back of a year-long injury.
Absolutely. And I don't think that any of them have been disappointing. And I think like Mercedes is already held to a higher standard because she's a woman, she's black, and also she actually left WWE. She didn't leave New Japan, like so she already is going to get hate. But even if Mercedes has had shit the bed in every last one of the matches that she had, which she hasn't, that's not true.
No.
But even if she did, she, in my opinion, is still the most valuable signing out of all of them because her mere influence. Look at how it's uplifted the rest of the division.
Yes,
everybody has been able to get better, do better, have more, and have better because she's there, whether she's in a program with them or not. Mariah and Tony directly benefited from Mercedes' presence.
Yep.
Willow Nightingale has directly benefited from Mercedes' presence. Stephanie Vicaire, who doesn't even work there, directly benefited from Mercedes' presence of just, we want to talk about a true needle mover and game changer. That's Mercedes.
Absolutely. I agree completely. And I think the thing with Mercedes in the AEW women's division is the women's division has had such a distinct style for so long because it's been the same people that have been at the top of the card for a very long time because of they weren't investing in the division. They were cycling through the same people constantly. That it developed such a distinct style that everyone's currently readjusting to the changes that are happening. And Mercedes is not only readjusting to that, but she's just come back from injury. She's not even had 10 matches yet. Yeah. And like from what like she said about it and from like what's been reported and what's like not been said about it, you can infer just how bad that injury was for her and just like by how long she was out as well. So I'm reserving judgment because I think it would be incredibly unfair to make any sort of judgments on Mercedes AEW run right now. Have I been a little bit disappointed by some of her matches? Sure, a little bit. Do I think she's also blown some of them out of the water? Absolutely, I do.
100%.
It's a very mixed bag, but
it is a very mixed
bag. How
bag.
can you expect her to have a good stadium match with someone like Britt Baker? Like, let's be realistic. And she had posted on her art, like on her blog or whatever it is, like how much like she didn't like. She doesn't say it directly because that's not the type of person she is. She's not about to talk shit, but you could infer how unhappy she was about that match. So that's the mentality she had going into All Out. So she already had that on her mind, and then something wasn't clicking with her and Shida in the ring, and it was a very disappointing match. Their TV match was better. We all thought the AEW, like the pay-per-view match would blow it out of the water, but these things happen sometimes. She's going to bounce back. She is eventually going to get back to where she wants to be in ring, and honestly, I would just keep having her defend the fucking TBS other belt that not the TBS, the other one. Because of the matches she's had, like Capital Collision and all that so far, they've been fucking great. Like, so if that's what she needs at the moment to get the ribbon back in the ring, just bring in the Stardom girls, bring in the freelancers, like, do what you got to do to get her back to where she needs to be in ring. To be honest.
I think that's the thing about Mercedes is like we have to think this is probably this is a mixed bag, and even still, she has produced at least 2 of the best women's matches all year. At least 2. Because that Willow Nightingale match is a classic. Like, we're going to be talking about that for a long time. The atmosphere, everybody's fine. And then the Momo Watanabe match at Capital Collision was also fantastic. Mercedes will bounce back. And I think truly the only way out is through, in the sense of she just has to keep wrestling. And she's going to just have to keep wrestling different people on the roster. And I genuinely think, like, there's a lot of people she's going to click with. Like, I think that Queen Aminata and her are going to have to click. I even think that, her and Serena Deeb are going to be able to have a really good match. I think, like,
her and Rio as well, I think is going to be fucking awesome.
Yes. Like, and even, like, I really enjoyed her match with Nyla Rose. Like, I love seeing Mercedes when she's up against, like, significantly bigger opponents. I think, like, she's absolutely incredible.
A stat shouldn't be taking a loss right now, but I need that match
real bad. But also, I don't need stat in the TB. I don't even want her to smell the TBS title picture right now because it's time to move up.
I agree. But, like, have we ever seen a women's match in AEW go to a time limit draw? Because if there's ever a time to do it,
oh yeah, protect stat. I think also too, just like it'd go tie in well, just like, you know, hey, you beat Willow, but you can't beat me, and I've beaten Willow, so I think I can beat you, etc. Like, you know, like time limit draw. And there's no woman in the AEW women's division right now who I think is more dependable than Chris Statlander.
Absolutely.
Like,
she does not get enough credit. I say this on pretty much every fucking podcast I talk about Stat about. She does not get enough credit for how fucking good she is, considering the fact that she tore both her ACLs
and came back, and like in her return match, she hit
a 450. She's unreal. Like, who the fuck does that?
You heard her talk. She said, "Yeah, I learned everything I know about wrestling by watching top 100 coolest moves on YouTube." What?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
what a more than a woman. More than
a woman. Yeah. Tony Khan, if you're watching, time limit draws, brother.
Yeah.
It's only good for business. Grand Slam's coming up.
Yes, it is. And Mercedes does not have an opponent.
No, she does not. And Stat is fresh off of a Willow feud. It's the perfect timing. Time limit draw.
Listen, I think that could be almost in the spirit of, you know, your Brian Omega time limit draw at the first Grand Slam. I'm not against a time limit draw at Grand Slam.
30-minute time limit.
I'm not at all. So let's get. Well, we weren't even going to dive deep into that match, but I'm glad that we did, because I think that there was a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Ospreay versus Pac.
Go.
Well, we can go deep into this one, so it's okay.
Go. Oh, fuck you, Tony Khan, for booking this in America. Bro, I don't mean that. I do kind of mean that, but I don't actually. I have nothing against Tony Khan. I think he's a lovely man. But fuck you for booking this on the pay-per-view I couldn't go to. This match I'd watched the high stakes match from 2019 4 times this week so I could write my review. Like, I watched that match and I rewatched it and I rewatched it and I rewatched it. And then I watched this match, and the opening minutes, I was like, this is so reminiscent of what they did in 2019. And Ospreay does this a lot. He loves to do his little callbacks in matches. So it was really cool seeing them do that little callback. And like, the story of the 2019 match was Ospreay was at like the peak of his in-ring athleticism, and he was like doing all the flippy shit, and Pac was working this sort of style to like just ground him, because of like Pac can do all the flippy shit. We know this about Pac. But Ospreay was just showing off and all that sort of type of shit. But you can just see the maturity Ospreay's gone through in ring in terms of his wrestling style when you compare these two matches, and their chemistry is unbelievable. And this cannot be the only time they have another singles match.
No,
oh my god, I need to be in the building for one of these matches. Like, I have been waiting for this for 5 years and I couldn't be there. Anyways, regardless, I'll stop bitching about me. But no, this was fucking unreal. Like, all like the callbacks they did to like their previous match, just their chemistry in ring, the audience calling for the Styles Clash before Ospreay hit it. Oh my god, perfection. You only get moments like that with crowds when wrestlers have that real connection with them that Ospreay does. Because, like, come on, everyone recognizes the Styles Clash. Have you ever heard it called like that for anyone that isn't AJ Styles?
No.
Like, it's unreal.
He's kind of made his move. Like, you know,
he has. Like, he really, really has.
Which I have something similar to that I'm going to bring up later, but continue.
But I didn't really have much to say, because I could just ramble about this match.
This was amazing.
I loved it. Yeah. I don't think it's the best match they could have, but it was miles better than their first one.
This was amazing. I haven't seen their first match, but after I saw your stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go back and I'm going to rewatch this, because like I will say, out of All Out, I haven't gone back and rewatched this match yet, because I was waiting to where I'm going to watch the first match first, and then I'm going to watch this match. So we're back. But in the building, fucking electric. Like, this is electric. Of just like, I think that's the best way to describe it. Of just like, there's nothing like an Ospreay match that can make you really like jump out of your seat on a near fall. And I did that quite a bit. And also just seeing Pac in that position, it felt like Pac was finally the guy that we all know he is, but it felt like he was never booked as. And it's just like seeing Pac in singles matches this year, I never want to go back to whatever we were doing before. And I hate to say it. I don't like to say this because I am going to miss them terribly. But as a wrestler, the Lucha Bros leaving may have been the best thing that have happened to Pac.
I agree, absolutely, 100%.
Forcing AEW to like do something with him without lying, going like, "Well, we ain't got enough for you, Death Triangle." You know, I have seen like this year with the Lucha Bros contract stuff being so weird, but we've seen more from Pac. I feel not Pac as in the Lucha Bros, but just Pac. We've just seen more from Pac than we've seen in a very, very long time. And I loved like them doing this at All Out, even though of course I would have loved to see it at All In, but them doing it All Out, same building that, you know, he originally beat Kenny. And even in loss, it felt like a reset of like, okay, he's at the dance again. Like he's at the dance. And then obviously what we saw later in the show of like, oh, Pac is a main character. It feels, and what I do really love about All Out is that it feels like they finally found a way to meld the new and the old. It feels simultaneously like old AEW and something completely fresh all at the same time. Of like, we're bringing back those top players. We got everybody back except for you, Kenny Omega. No pressure or anything, but I just want you to know everybody is here but you. We got everybody but you. It was just amazing. I love this match. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had watching a match like in person of just like electric. Next, Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale. You know what's crazy? Now that I'm looking at it on Cage Match, I didn't realize this match was only 14 minutes and 57 seconds.
That's crazy. They used every second of that perfectly.
No time, nothing was wasted. I think in this match, and especially now that I've rewatched it, because I've rewatched it twice. I've gone back and rewatched it twice, and I'm catching different things every time. Stokely Hathaway was brilliant in this match. And I think the reason why, and I think Prince Nana's also did this too, but we'll talk about that later. I love how managers were using this show because instead of just sitting there and yelling, Stokely going to fetch weapons and everything, it meant that they didn't have to. Because you think about, especially in women's matches, I feel like it takes forever to set spots up. It takes forever to do stuff. You're constantly looking under the ring, trying to find stuff. Stokely helped things go so much smoother because they were able to transition from one spot into the next, into the next, into the next, into the next. And I think like that's what a lot of women's matches a lot of times are missing is that pacing component. But this did not have that problem at all.
No.
Pacing was perfect.
The pacing was perfect. It felt like they did enough. Like we knew there was another stipulation match coming, but they did enough to set themselves aside from that, and that it was going to be different enough from that it didn't detract from anything that was about to happen in the cage match later in the night. Willow Nightingale used light tubes. She is a woman after my own heart. I am a deathmatch girly. Willow is a deathmatch girly. We'd love to fucking see it. They were putting out thumbtacks. They were using all types of shit. They had the barbed wire bat. Oh, I love women. I love when women get violent.
Bloody women.
I just the bleeding, like after like the light tube spot, and then Stat was just bleeding, and the stuff they were doing with the font. Oh my god, I love this match so much. I cannot say enough good things about it. These two are the queen of street fights in AEW. Like, if there's ever a street fight stip, they just need to be involved because like they are so fucking good at it. And yeah, man, I absolutely love this. I loved where it was placed on the card. It was the perfect thing to put after Pac Ospreay. Yeah, man.
Do you know how, like, can we talk about how good you have to be to the point fucking Dave Meltzer said, oh my God, I cannot even believe that they were able to like follow that match before them because like, you know, for just about almost any other women, that would have been a death spot. Not these two. Not these two. Yep. It took everything as a challenge and an opportunity, and like their hunger was palpable. Of just what I love is that I feel like when it comes to blood feuds, everybody is either, at least in real life, either the best of friends or the worst of enemies. And I think that the feuds tend to be better when you're the best of friends. And the reason why is because I think you're more willing to do different things for each other, of being vulnerable, of just like, you got to think, when wrestlers fucking hate each other, it's so much politicking. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not going over this person. Of just like, you don't have as much of that. I think like Swerve and Hangman is a good example. We'll get there. Of just being willing to like do things for your opponent, willing to look weak in certain moments so the other person looks strong, and vice versa. And I think it was even a moment like when they're like, after they ran at each other, and they're just looking at each other like, no, like we're gonna fuck this up. Like we are going to tear this house down. Of just, you could tell it was a very much so a common goal of making history. Like they wanted to have a match that would be burned on the brains of everybody, and we're going to talk about it forever. And I think like that's exactly what they did. And what I also love about it is that what I love in AEW is I think that's after a really good match is kind of like certain people own a stipulation, you know, like I feel like Hangman is the king of the Texas death match. I feel like, you know, and I feel like them, they are, like you said, these are the queens of the street fight. That's their stipulation. For the rest of their careers, they will be associated. They are the bar for that stipulation. And everybody after that are going to have to think about them afterwards, of just like, okay, can I live up to Chris Willow's expectations? And I think that's really, I just think that's really cool. Like it was just really,
I agree. God, such good shit.
Great shit, man. Up next, Danielson Perry. I would say the match was good, but it wasn't anything to write home about, in my opinion. But the entrances, fantastic. I would like to say the entrances,
really cool entrances,
fantastic. Man, Jack Perry walked in like he had the Secret Service surrounding him. Fantastic. And then I wasn't expecting a final countdown moment.
Me neither.
I think at this point, Tony's just going to pay it at every pay-per-view until Danielson loses the title.
Makes sense.
I wonder if now this is where it's really going to be interesting. I'm interested to see if he buys it for Grand Slam.
That'll be the real test, whether he gets it for Grand Slam
like,
or not.
How much? But you know, by then the media deal might already be announced. So
this is true.
It's just like I like when AEW has fuck you money. I'm just like, you know, I feel like the amount of times Final Countdown has been played this year, I'm just like, okay, you got it. You know, this is above my pay grade. But let's talk about the aftermatch.
Real quick, shout out Jack Perry for those bumps off the Busaka knee, because fuck me, did he fly? Oh my god,
he sold that better than just about anybody else.
Oh, absolutely,
He sold the fuck out.
Let's get into the aftermath. Oh my goodness gracious!
Listen, I will say, Mox is one of my goats, man. I love Mox, but I've been so terrified recently because, like, I feel like on the internet, everyone's like, "Oh, guys, this is going to be terrible." When he first came back, like, this is going to be awful. So I've been holding my breath. But every time he's come out, it's been really good. Like, I just, we might not know what's going on, but I've liked it. Like, or at least, like, I want to know more. And so when Mox came out there, I'm like, oh. God, because you know Christian to come out there and brings everybody. He's gonna cash in like his contract, which is very funny. Like also, I didn't see until later. He has future the future AEW champion or something on that clipboard, and it's like hilarious. Fox comes and stands between them. I'm like, okay. I didn't think they were gonna do it all that night. Like I was just like, okay, this is gonna be a slow burn. He goes in like everybody's celebrating. But I should have known because they didn't play any music when everybody was raising hands. I was like, oh, this is about to get really bad. Then, you know, you got Pac there. I'm like, oh my gosh, bro, like, this is amazing. Then he hugs Brian, kisses him on the forehead. I'm just like,
I was like, he's being way too affectionate.
I said, this is beautiful, but I don't think this is good. Guys, I'm scared. And he walks off, and then Claudio decks him, and also Bryan Danielson. You're the greatest babyface of all time, because the way that he sold it of just like sitting there, like the shock on his face. He just sat there just shocked.
Yeah.
I had to go rewatch that moment because honestly, it was hard to see in the arena.
Yeah.
But a fucking plastic bag?
Bro, long live Terry Funk. Because I recognized what it was a callback to immediately. And I was like, bro, what the fuck is going on in AEW? I am so here for that. I am so here for it. We are so fucking back.
We are so back.
John Moxley fans, we are so locked in.
John Moxley, I never doubted you. Never.
I was never doubting you.
My ace until the day I died. Listen, that was beautiful. Wheeler Yuta also sold it.
Oh, the way he sold it. Oh.
And Pac holding him like, bro.
And they're doing the hug and I just
I said, nah, we're back, y'all. We're back. Like AEW, we're back into lore territory. Like not just good, lore territory. We're back into the callbacks and like the taking your pins and putting them on the board and trying to like map out stuff. We are back to the days where girls are writing down their thoughts in their notes app because they have so many thoughts. Like we are back.
Mm-hmm.
We're back. This was amazingly well done. Like,
yeah, this was really, really well done.
Incredibly well done. I think Jack Perry was the right opponent. Having the EVP, like, bro, what?
Yeah, the EVP run-in, that was the thing that happened.
Matt Jackson, that V-neck was scandalous.
It was something, wasn't it?
Scandalous.
Scandalous. What an angle.
And
I was in Discord with a couple of friends and I was like, I gotta watch the cage match now, like because I had no idea that this turn happened. So I was watching this like bearing in mind it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning for me, like whilst I was watching this. Yeah. So I was watching it at like real pay-per-view time because I'd gotten back from London. So like the turn happened and I was like I teared up, not because I was just so taken aback. And I was like, it'd been a long day, and I literally just started tearing up. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, how am I now meant to watch a cage match? Like, I don't know, it was unreal. What really did make me laugh, though, was one of the commentators, I think it was Excalibur, being like, well, we are now done with the sanctioned portion of our show. I was just like, Barry just got strangled with a plastic bag. What do you mean we're done with the sanctioned portion?
And I think that's also why I rewatch shows. That's why I rewatch shows because, like, this was a good example of being able to see everything in the commentary. It added so much. Like, even JR. Yeah. JR said JR was disgusted. He was disgusted. He was fed up from that angle on through the cage match. He was fed up. It was beautiful. Right, we're just about done with All Out, almost done with this episode, but we have a few more questions. Question from @Superfly3Ys. Who would you have Brian enlist to help him against the BCC?
I don't know.
You want to know what's crazy? If Pac wasn't in another group, that was probably who I would have picked.
Yeah.
Because he has so much history, he had Claudio for a minute.
Who the fuck? Who?
Daniel Garcia.
It's gotta be Danny, the conglomeration.
Daniel Garcia, I would say. Conglomeration makes sense too. Mark Briscoe, definitely.
Just like they just adopt stray people. I almost said stray kittens. Wow, I'm not calling Brian Danielson a kitten. He's more of a puppy, if we're being real. They just adopt the strays of the locker room. He's now Brian Danielson's lost his group.
Imagine Kyle O'Reilly. I think Brian and Kyle O'Reilly would have great tag chemistry.
I think they would as well.
I do think they should close the loop on that. I would personally choose Danny. I think
he's going to need more than one friend though. That's why I also threw out the conglomeration. But like Danny is the very obvious choice.
Mm-hmm. Conglomeration, yeah, because they do it, take in straight up cat puppies.
they do take in all the strays.
They do take in all the strays, which isn't a bad thing, you know.
And no, it's not. It's made for an incredibly fun faction. I don't even know who else is babyface on in AEW.
I think Orange Cassidy does make sense here. I think especially with Moxley and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that would probably say Danny. Ooh.
Ospreay.
You know what? Coming out of All Out, AEW is like firmly in heel territory, and it really is. Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson versus the world. Like everybody, almost every championship is held by heels, even the women. Of just like, I agree. I think that could be a good one. I think like, you know, and then we can tease Mox Ospreay eventually.
Oh, wait, that's a rematch I need to see.
You know, hey, Ospreay, have we seen Ospreay Claudio yet? Has that happened?
Not as a singles. Like they were both in the Casino Gauntlet.
Yes. Give me the singles.
Were they both in a single? Were they both?
Yes, they were.
Were they in the single? I think so. Ospreay was in both of them. Ospreay's won both of them, so of course he was in both of them. Well, not both of them up until All In. I'm getting my wires crossed. Okay. But yeah, no, I don't think they've had a singles match yet. And obviously, we've just had Ospreay Pag.
Yes.
So
yeah, Ospreay, Danny, conglomeration. Those would be probably the
those
ones.
would be the picks. Yeah.
Okay.
Because like obviously Mox has done this weird thing with like he's not aligned himself with the Elite, but these men are cool with each other now.
Yeah.
So
they're affiliated.
And what member of the Elite has Bryan Danielson faced twice already? Kazuchika Okada.
You know, there's a very far-fetched theory. A very, very far-fetched theory. I don't think we're there yet, but somebody thinks that eventually it's going to be. I saw somebody say eventually they think it's going to be Kenny. But like, yeah, guys, you can't have it all. Is Kenny going to save Hangman, or is Kenny going to like save Bryan Danielson's life? Who knows? Like,
I don't think there's any saving Hangman. That was super loaded. Wow. Not anytime soon, anyways. We cannot start going on a healing journey when he has just completed this arc with Swerve. He needs to tear some other baby faces up.
Yeah, he needs to kill them.
But
he
needs to murder Kyle O'Reilly. Listen. I love Kyle O'Reilly. That's my boy. If there's ever a babyface to put in with a completely descended into madness hill Hangman.
I have a thought on that, but I'm gonna save it. But I have a person who is in proximity to Kyle O'Reilly who I think it should be. But next question we'll get, because we're about to get into Swerve Hangman. Question from Cashmere_Woods: when and how should Private Party pivot towards a title feud with the Young Bucks?
Tonight in the Casino Gauntlet, they should probably win it.
Yeah, I think they should start tonight and then probably Grand Slam. Woo, there it is.
Yeah,
unless
there you go.
We have Motor City Machine Guns, Private Party should be.
I don't think they need to win. I don't think they need to win.
I don't think
if they're in it, I don't think they need to win it.
I think that they're icons, you know. I think it's kind of like when we were saying about like Christian and Copeland of like, do you need the belts for them to have that match with the Bucks? No.
Unless they're going to be doing the whole thing of we are rebuilding the tag division around Motor City Machine Guns, that's when you make them champions, because then you can put a Private Party over down the line.
Yeah.
But if they're not doing that angle, don't have them win the Casino Gauntlet.
I agree. I'm down for Private Party. Literally,
if they're even in it,
we start the Team Private Party thing tonight, and then Grand Slam. Yeah. Them winning those titles in New York. I'm here for it. Question from Violet Amnesia: how did you both find it having 2-week break between All In, All Out over 1 week last year? What would your ideal setup be next year, given the change schedule with Forbidden Door being in the UK August show? So
I really like the 2-week break this Yeah, I think it worked a lot better than the 1 week break. Next year, I don't think it really matters because of Forbidden Door. Like, they did a lot more this year with like crossing over stories, but a lot of what happens on those cards aren't necessarily canon. So it doesn't really matter how much it affects, like, it, how close it is to All Out, in my opinion.
I agree. I really like the 2 week break this year, and I think they did a much better job this year of making the stories make sense from between All In and All Out. And honestly, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having like my famous tweet. I said All In is about dreams and All Out is about nightmares. I loved that dichotomy this year. I don't think you could do it every year, but this year having that balance of like, this is the babyface show and this is where people die. That was, I felt like that was very Cash Money of y'all. I like that. I liked it a lot. For me, I feel like I'm kind of like split. I love spectacle in wrestling. A lot of the spectacle that exists in wrestling has just not been my taste. But I feel like All In was my level of spectacle. Of like, yes, I love stadium shows. I love pyro. I love good, cool entrances. But I hate LED barricades and I hate ads and I hate all that stuff. Right. So that was my level of spectacle. But I'm also a sick fuck. I like light tubes and I like blood and I like
the thumbtacks. I like the barbed wire. I like all that type of shit.
I would also like to say this too, and I meant to say this about the Willow match.
The real glass.
I wanted to say that about the Willow stat match, but I love the fact that for their match they had blood, but the blood wasn't the main character. And I feel like a lot of times in women's matches, especially for like American women's wrestling, especially like television wrestling, women bleeding is already such a novelty. So like the blood alone, that's the match. Like that's the key takeaway of the match. I love like that wasn't the story here. Like that wasn't the story. It was a symptom, but it wasn't like everything, which I really enjoyed. But back to what I was saying, I liked having the best of both worlds over these last 2 weeks. Now, does it get expensive? Yes. And like there's a good chance if you went to one, you're not gonna be able to go to both. Sucks. Maybe it'll be easier next year because both teams. Well, not for people who don't live in America, but sorry. But for people who live in the U.S., like next year, there's a problem. Everything's spread out a little bit better. But I am gonna miss All In and All Out being 2 weeks apart a little bit. I don't know. I am. It was super special to have like. It felt like having those two really important shows to AEW back to back, because I do think like even though All Out isn't in a stadium, these last 2 years are proof that like All Out is a very important show on the card.
Just All Out in general. I feel like it's been one of the most consistent pay-per-views, really.
100%, probably. I would say Revolution, All Out, Full Gear,
Double or Nothing.
Yeah, out of the original 4,
the OGs. Yeah.
So yeah, that's been fun. All right, so we're done with this portion. Hour and a half. I think we did pretty good. All in, all out. We're about to get started, and we're gonna go record this. Go check out the next episode. We're gonna talk about Swerve Hangman, because guess what? There's just something to talk about. They need their own thing, These sick fucks need their own episode, and the elite girlies are going to give it to you. Really. But until next time, we will catch you later. I'm Lyric. This is Charlie. And yeah, we'll come back for the second part of our double feature.
Indeed.
Bye.